I have a challenge for you. Listen to one story every day on this channel, just 30 minutes for 30 days. Do it, and I promise you, your English will change forever. Are you ready? Let's begin. You have probably spent months, maybe even years, trying to study English. You opened books, watched grammar videos, repeated rules, memorized vocabulary lists, and tried to practice speaking. Sometimes it helped a little. Sometimes you felt progress, but most of the time, everything was slow, difficult, and frustrating. And after all that effort, English still feels confusing when you listen to real people speaking. It feels fast. It feels heavy. It feels impossible, and you begin to think that something is wrong with you. You begin to think that maybe you are not talented, or maybe you are too old, or maybe languages are not for you. But none of that is true. The problem is not you. The problem is the method. You see, we were taught that learning a language means studying grammar, memorizing rules, and repeating new words again and again. This is how schools work. This is how textbooks work. But this is not how the brain learns a language. Your brain does not understand rules the way you think it does. Your brain does not grow from pressure. It does not grow from stress. It does not grow from long grammar lessons. It learns from patterns, sounds, repetition, and emotion. It learns naturally, slowly, gently, exactly the way children learn their first language. Think about it. When you were a child, you didn't memorize rules. You never opened a grammar book. You didn't study past tense, present tense, or conditional sentences. You didn't study pronunciation. You just listened. You listened every day. You heard the same phrases again and again. You heard your parents, your family, your friends, and your brain slowly started to understand the meaning, not through rules, but through experience, through hundreds of small moments. That is how languages really enter your brain, not through logical effort, but through daily connection. So when adults try to learn English by studying hard, they are doing the opposite of what works. They are pushing the language into their mind instead of letting it grow naturally. This is why so many people learn for years and still struggle. They try to push English inside, but their brain resists because it is stressed, tired, and overloaded. But here is the good news. You can relearn English the natural way. You can follow the same method that children use, but adapted for adults. And when you do this, the results come faster than you expect, because you don't learn English by studying it. You learn it by living with it. Every day you give your brain English in simple, natural, relaxing ways. Every day you listen to something you understand. Every day you hear stories. Every day you hear the language used in real situations. And slowly your brain starts to recognize the patterns. Slowly your brain starts to understand without translating. Slowly, English becomes familiar. It doesn't happen in one day. It doesn't happen in 1 week. But with daily contact, your brain changes. And one day, everything feels easier. You understand more. You speak faster. You feel more confident. Not because you studied harder, but because you stopped fighting the language and let it enter your mind naturally. So today, I want to show you a different way. A way that feels simple, easy, and peaceful. A way that anyone, truly anyone, can follow. A way that doesn't need motivation every day. A way that builds fluency through habit, not pressure. This is the method that actually works. This is what you should do instead. So if studying doesn't work, what should you do instead? The answer is simple. You must learn English the way your brain wants to learn it. Through daily contact, simple stories, repetition, and emotion. Not pressure. Not stress. Not memorizing. Not translating. Just natural exposure. Your brain needs English the same way a plant needs sunlight. A plant doesn't grow because you shout at it. It grows because you give it light every day. And your English grows the same way, through small daily moments. So here is the method that actually works. A method that has helped millions of people improve their English without studying. It's simple. Listen to understandable English every day. This is the core. If you listen every day, even 10 or 20 minutes, your brain slowly adapts. Choose something simple, something relaxing, something you enjoy. Stories are perfect. Not academic lectures. Not fast podcasts. Not complicated news. Stories have emotion. Stories connect ideas. Stories help your brain understand naturally. Even if you understand only 60% or 70%, that's enough. Your brain will fill the missing pieces. It learns by guessing, observing, and feeling the rhythm of the language. Repeat the same story several times. This is where the magic happens. The first time you listen, it's difficult. The second time, easier. The third time, you understand more than you expected. Your brain starts recognizing patterns. Not rules, patterns. And patterns become automatic knowledge. When you hear a phrase enough times, it becomes part of your speaking, without any studying. Read a simple text about the same story. Reading reinforces the listening. You see the words your ears just heard? You connect the sound with the meaning. This is how vocabulary becomes permanent, not through memorizing lists, but through meeting the same words in different forms, hearing, reading, speaking. Speak a little, but naturally. You don't need to practice for hours. You don't need to force yourself. Just repeat what you hear. Shadow the story. Speak along with the narrator. Even if your pronunciation is not perfect, your brain learns the movement. Your mouth learns the rhythm, and slowly, speaking becomes easier. Make English part of your daily life. This is the big secret. Fluency doesn't come from studying hard. It comes from being close to the language every single day. You listen while you walk. You listen while you cook. You listen while you clean, drive, or take the bus. You don't study. You simply live with English. This is the difference between learning the slow way and learning the natural way. Because when English becomes part of your environment, your brain learns it effortlessly. You don't feel tired. You don't feel stressed. You don't feel overwhelmed. You are simply giving your brain what it needs. Gentle, daily contact with the real language. And the best part? You don't need motivation. You don't need discipline. You don't need to force yourself. You just need a habit, a rhythm, a simple daily routine that becomes part of your life. And when you follow this method for weeks, then months, something incredible happens. You start understanding things you couldn't understand before. Your mind becomes faster. Your ears become sharper. You begin thinking in English without trying, not because you studied, but because you lived inside the language long enough for your brain to adapt. This is the real way to learn English. Quiet, natural, human. It's how children learn. It's how you learned your first language. And it's how you can learn English now. No pressure, no stress, no memorizing. Just simple daily exposure. That's the method that actually works. And now you know exactly what to do. Now that you understand the method, the question is simple. How do you make English part of your daily life? How do you create real immersion and without moving to another country, without expensive courses, without stress? It's easier than you think. Immersion is not a place. Immersion is not a school. Immersion is not a teacher. Immersion is a habit. It's the way you bring English into your day, quietly, naturally, without forcing yourself. Here is the system. It is simple but extremely powerful. If you follow it every day, your English will grow faster than ever before. Start your day with 10 minutes of listening, not studying, not repeating. Just listening, put on your headphones. Choose a simple story. Sit down, relax, and let the sound enter your mind. Don't try to understand everything. Don't worry about mistakes. Just listen. Those first 10 minutes prepare your brain for the whole day. It's like opening the door and letting English walk in. Add English to boring moments. Every day is full of empty time. Walking, cooking, cleaning, driving, waiting. You don't need motivation for these moments. They happen anyway. Use them. Put on English. Stories while you wash dishes. Listen to a story on the bus. Play English in the background while you clean your room. This is soft immersion, the easiest, most natural way to improve your listening. Create your English space at home. Choose one place, maybe a corner, maybe a chair, maybe your desk. Make it your English space. Whenever you sit there, you know, this is the place where I listen, relax, and grow. You don't need to study. You just need to show up. Your brain will do the rest. Listen to the same story many times. This is one of the biggest secrets. Repetition is not boring. Repetition is power. The first time you listen, you understand a little. The second time, you understand more. The third time, everything feels easier. Your brain begins to recognize sounds, phrases, and patterns. You learn naturally and without effort. If you repeat a story 5 times, it enters your long-term memory, and that memory becomes part of your speaking. Read the text after listening. Reading the story after hearing it connects the sound with the meaning. When you see words you already heard, your brain says, "Oh, I know this. I remember this." This is how understanding grows. You don't need to study the text. You just read it slowly, calmly, with pleasure. Use shadowing, just a little. Shadowing means repeating what you hear at the same time. Not perfectly, not loudly, just softly, like practicing music. This trains your mouth and your brain to work together. It improves your pronunciation naturally, without effort. Even 3 minutes of shadowing can change your speaking. Just repeat a few sentences from the story you listened to. End your day with English too. Right before you sleep, listen again for a few minutes. This is powerful because your brain continues working during the night. When you sleep, your brain organizes the information from the day. And if the last thing you hear is English, your brain keeps processing it. This makes learning faster, deeper, more natural. Don't interrupt the chain. Here is the rule. Never take 2 days off in a row. 1 day off is fine. Life happens. But 2 days break the rhythm. Your brain loves rhythm. Rhythm builds fluency. Rhythm creates automatic understanding. Even on your busiest day, give English at least 5 minutes. 5 minutes is enough to keep the habit alive. Trust the process even when you don't see progress. This is important. You will not notice progress every day, sometimes not even every week. But your brain is learning, quietly, softly, in the background. Think of it like growing a tree. You don't see it grow every day, but if you water it every day, one day it's huge. Your English works the same way. One day, it becomes natural. After weeks, then months of daily immersion, something incredible happens. You start understanding without translating. You start thinking in English without trying. You start speaking more fluently, more confidently, more naturally, not because you studied harder, not because you memorized more rules, simply because you stayed close to the language every single day. And when that day comes, you will realize something important. You didn't learn English. You absorbed it. You lived with it. You grew into it. This is the secret. This is the natural way. This is what you should do instead of studying. Stop studying English. Live with it. And in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, you won't believe how much you have changed.